there's always that place just beyond madness. I approached the front gates. It's a hall, goes through the wall of cars, the twisted metal and headlights. As you got closer, you really appreciated the size of that wall. I mean, it's huge. Because of the nature of the wall, made out of cars, zigzagged and sandbagged together like so many giant steel bricks. You'd think you might be able to climb it, you might be able to scale that, but always hiding in the dark shadows of the gunmen with their cannons pointed out towards the desert, breeding the gases of bongweed, enhancing their vision and their sight. An unreal calm comes over you when you get close to the place. The essence of bongweed is everywhere. You feel it as you get close. You take a breath and you can smell its sickly sweet stench. The minute you smell it, it affects you. I had my helmet on, so the filters kept me safe for a while. Until I got to the actual gate. The bars were there. Simple steel gate. I thought the gate was flimsy in comparison to the rest of the wall. I mean, what would be the point of having such a flimsy gate? And inside there was 4 men wearing pink silk robes with no metal on them at all, in this circular tiled steel corridor that led through the 50 some odd feet that was the wall. I thought, how odd, that you'd have this. I mean, it was maybe 10 feet wide, 10 feet tall, this box corridor. Why would you have a stronger defense? I mean, yeah, you've got the gun emplacements, but surely a car could just ram this, make their way through. And I realized what these large circular discs were. They weren't tiles. Along the walls and ceiling and floor were these huge metal discs, 6 feet across, some were 8 feet across. But they weren't metal discs, they were electromagnets, the kinds used for moving scrap, picking up tons of steel at a time. With a flick of a switch, that corridor became a magnetic death trap. If you had any metal on you, even fillings in your teeth, whatever, I mean, it would tear it from your body, pin you to the ground. Any weapons you'd have would crush your hand against the steel. I got about 10 feet away before my danger sensor started to light up on the helmet. They wouldn't open the gate until I took the helmet off. One monk came forward. They looked like the old Shaolin monks. Probably were some type of martial artist. With no metal on them, their hand-to-hand combat was no doubt amazing. He approached the gate, smiling, and said, "Remove your helmet, brother. You have no need for it here." It sounded friendly, but it was... well, there was that thinly veiled threat. I'll be honest, I was afraid. I mean, I had hardened circuits, and there was a lot of non-metallic alloys, but if they turned that on, I don't know what kind of damage that would do. I've got so many implants there that shielding will protect it, but to what level? Nothing shielded was ever designed to be in a chamber like that, not inside of a gateway to digital oblivion. Luckily, by this time I'd figured out how to take the helmet off, so I did. I took it off, and the minute I took it off, the bongweed hit me so close, right by the corridor, that I took one breath and I felt my whole body relax. colors of his robe became so bright and so vibrant I could almost taste them. It took me a moment. It was so pure there. It took me a moment just to get my bearings, realize where I was and what I was doing. You could see the effect on me. I looked down on my legs, these steel legs, and I could see the metal shifting subtly under my gaze. I took a step forward, and he says, "Now, who are you, and why do you wish to come here?" And even though I was probably more human than I'd been in a while, I sounded like a robot. I said, "I'm independent, dynamic librarian, Sean Kennedy VI, and I'm here seeking audience with the Dread Man." And like he'd heard that about 1,000,000 times before, the monk nodded his head and smiling and said, "I see. We shall tell him you are here. Come through." The gates opened and I felt fear race through my body as I took a step across those massive metal discs. Someone would have to just touch an unseen button and I would be utterly destroyed. The synthetics had become part of my life, or had become the rending claws and bullets that would destroy me. With my helmet off and through the magnetic chamber, I walked into the courtyard just beyond the wall. My implants, away from the magnetic field, picked up an IP address right away, and I was given access to their shared data. There was a propaganda site, an interface that posted the news. I could browse it. All I had to do was close my eyes and I could fire up my monk interface. It was very limited, mostly just text. So I did. And even though it was a simple web interface, I could feel the memories of the routers. The memory of being in the rack. It hurt. But I focused on the news. They had a map of the city there. And on the news site I noticed that 2 stories down from the top was that a librarian had entered New Rome seeking the audience with the Dread Man. His name I got from there was named Mr. Weaver. Mr. Weaver. Well, now I have a name. And no doubt with everyone else reading this, it probably wouldn't take me long to locate him. I opened my eyes and I could see that the city around me was the most terrible paradise I'd ever experienced. The influence of the bong weed was flowing through my body, and I miss it even now. That colorful numbing, that method of experience coursing through my veins. I could feel the subtle breath of the city whispering in my ears. I watched the circles of dust dance around people's feet as they walked. Others saw the dust, but were more used to it. Everyone was smiling at me, happy to see me. Stranger walking in from the wastelands. It was like a religion coming of home. It was like paradise. This narcotically influenced home. They could tell I was new and I'd never been here before because of my staring at the dust, at the colors, at the vibrance, at the somehow chaotic art of twisted steel that welded together and made the dwellings that people stayed in.